In 1959, 9 experienced hikers entered the Ural Mountains in Russia during the middle of winter. They were not beginners. They had survived harsh expeditions before, and they knew exactly how dangerous the cold could be. But this time, something went wrong, because just days later, their tent was found on a frozen mountain slope, cut open from the inside. And what happened next became one of the most disturbing, unsolved mysteries in history. Even decades later, no one can fully explain it. The group was led by a 23-year-old student named Igor Dyatlov. He was experienced, careful, and respected among hikers. The team consisted of university students and skilled outdoor explorers who were used to extreme conditions. Before the journey, they planned a route across remote snowy terrain, far away from villages or rescue support. At the time, winter in the Ural Mountains was brutal. Temperatures could drop far below freezing, and storms could appear without warning. Still, the group was confident. They took photos along the way, documenting their journey step by step. In those photos, everything looks normal, calm, even peaceful. No signs of fear, no signs of danger. Then something unusual happened. Communication stopped. No messages, no updates, nothing. At first, nobody was worried. Delays were common in such expeditions. But as days passed, concern grew. Eventually, a search team was sent to find them. When they reached the area, the conditions were already extreme. Deep snow covered everything, and visibility was low. Then they discovered something strange. The group's tent was still there, but it was not intact. It had been cut open from the inside, not torn by wind, not damaged by animals. Cut open, like someone inside desperately tried to escape. As the search teams continued deeper into the mountains, conditions became even more extreme. The snow was thick and temperatures were dangerously low. Every step was slow and difficult, and visibility kept changing with the wind. Days passed before they found anything important. Then finally, they found the first real clue: the tent. It was still standing on the slope, partially covered in snow, but when they got closer, they noticed something that immediately made no sense. The tent had been cut open from the inside, not ripped by weather, not torn from outside pressure, but sliced open from within, as if the people inside were trying to escape in panic. Even more disturbing, personal belongings were still inside. Jackets, boots, and supplies that would normally be essential for survival in freezing temperatures. Something had forced them out, urgently, and without preparation. The footprints around the tent told an even stranger story. They showed that the group had walked away together, heading down the mountain, not running in all directions, but moving as a group, slowly at first. This suggested they were conscious and coordinated, at least in the beginning. But the conditions outside were deadly. The temperature was far below freezing. Without proper clothing, survival time would be very short. So why would experienced hikers leave their only shelter? That question becomes one of the biggest mysteries in the entire case. Eventually, the search team found the first 2 bodies near a large cedar tree. The scene was silent and frozen. It appeared they had tried to climb the tree, possibly to look back toward the tent or signal for help. Near them, there were signs they had tried to start a small fire using branches. But the cold was too strong. Their attempts were not enough. They died there in the snow, under the dark winter sky. Farther from the tree, additional bodies were discovered later. Some were partially buried under snow months afterward. What made the case even more confusing were the injuries. Some of the hikers had fractures that looked like they came from extreme force, similar to a car crash or a powerful impact. But strangely, there were no external wounds that matched a clear attack. No signs of struggle, no clear enemy, just confusion. Everything about the scene felt incomplete, like a story missing its final piece. Over the years, experts and investigators have suggested several explanations. Avalanche theory. One idea is that a small avalanche may have hit the tent unexpectedly. This could explain why they cut their way out and fled in panic. However, some researchers argue the terrain does not fully support this explanation. Military testing theory. Another theory suggests the group may have accidentally entered a restricted military testing zone. Some believe they could have been exposed to explosions or secret experiments, but no official confirmation has ever supported this idea. Natural force. Theory. Others suggest rare atmospheric or weather phenomena could have caused confusion or panic. However, no known weather event fully explains all the injuries and behavior. Panic theory. Another explanation is mass panic. Something may have triggered extreme fear, causing the group to abandon their shelter in a rush, but the question remains. What could cause experienced hikers to panic so suddenly in such a harsh environment? In the years that followed, the case remained open to interpretation. Modern investigators have revisited the evidence multiple times. In 2019, Russian authorities suggested an avalanche as the most likely cause. But even today, many experts strongly disagree. Advances in science have helped analyze parts of the case, but they still cannot explain everything that happened that night. The mystery remains incomplete. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains one of the most mysterious events ever recorded in modern history. And even after decades of investigation, one question still has no clear answer. What really happened to the 9 hikers that night in the mountains? If you enjoyed this mystery, subscribe to the channel for more unexplained stories like this. And comment below what you think happened: avalanche, panic, or something far more mysterious.